distancing. I know like Kentucky Fried Chicken got rid of their finger looking good ads, things that just really are contradictory to what people are feeling now. And don't forget that 80% of what your clients probably are using is this, 4-inch mobile device. So try to have any important messages that you really want your clients to see in that first area so they don't have to scroll down. And if they do take a look when they go to your website, they see right away that you are tuned into what they're feeling right now. And with social media, it's really important to make a social media plan so that you can be consistent and keep showing up. For most of us, you may already have gone this exercise, but where do you feel like your clients are hanging out on social? With social media use up 50 to 70%, it is a great time to reach your clients, but where are they? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? If you're a B2B person, you're probably going to get a lot of traction on LinkedIn. And decide how many days a week do you want to post? And more importantly, what are your goals right now for social? Do you just want to connect? Is there a product you feel like when Lori Twombly was on a lot, obviously cleaning, that's very important right now to people. So she would want to design her social media with very specific asks and easy ways for her clients to reach her, how she does what she does, when they should call her, and give them an easy way to get through to her. Don't just post, especially with Instagram. It's harder to put a link on Instagram. You have to send people to your bio to get them off Instagram to reach you. So what you might want to do is suggest that people DM you, because then you can start a conversation with them versus statically sending them to some link that's hard to find. Facebook's a little easier. You can put your links in there, so you could say, go to my website and reach out to me. But try to use DMing as much as you can. You might not have used it as much before. Messaging on both platforms is great because you get into a direct conversation with your clients, and people do like that better now than asking them to look somewhere else to reach you. And as I said, make sure your posts make it easy for your clients to meet the goals that you have in mind for them. And as I already mentioned, ad revenues are down, so that's good for us. Less noise, less chatter. And don't worry about building followers right now. A lot of people say, oh, I have this many followers, I need to build these followers. Followers are good, and they'll come to you organically at this time if you create shareable content. If you post things people want to hear, don't be afraid to post memes and comics. You can spread some of those in, people share those. It's just important to show up and focus on relatable, honest content. And as we talked about at the beginning, when you get to your brand story and what you're feeling right now, that's going to give you the content to talk to people, which is why I showed you guys at the beginning of this seminars, pictures of my family and what we're doing, because that's like where we're coming from, and that's where I can post and reach my clients. And highlight what are your value propositions. How can you help your clients? You think to yourself, if it's insurance, again, I'm not professing to be an expert in anyone's fields, because when I work with my people, I talk to you guys for a good hour and a half about your brand and what you want to do. I would assume with insurance, we have cars in the driveway that maybe don't need to be insured as highly. How can you help people, with problems that they might not see they might not have thought of? And if you have staff, get them to share stories. People love that behind the scenes, what's going on vibe, and stay positive. I think that's important too. So before we talk about the future and what the future might look like, is it a good time for questions? What are people feeling?
Yeah, so I'm going to, EB, I'm going to suggest, one, if you have a question, and two, based on what's been covered so far, if you have any comments relative to your own business, things that you've done, some of your own best practices. So either questions or sharing, just to build out the content on what EB, and thanks EB, this has been great. So I'm just looking at, let me just go full screen here. Whoa, that's EB. Hang on.
Mike, this is Paul.
Yes.
Hey, EB.
Hey.
I have a question. I find it so hard to manage this whole process. Is there a system or a method to go about doing it? Because I find it, I'm not on social media all the time anyway. So how do you, other than, I know I can get you to do it,
Yeah.
which is fine. But how do I start? How do I get ramped up?
Yeah, awesome. So is your question, yeah, I can definitely give you some pointers on that. By it, are you talking about sort of managing posting on the different platforms? Is that kind
Yes.
of what you're, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, perfect. So for you, I would assume, and again, I don't mean to assume because this would be part of a larger conversation, but for the sake of talking right now in front of everybody, is it fair to assume that most of your clients and your audience is probably more on Facebook than Instagram?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
No, and it's easy to cross post, so it's not like, I mean, there's a button you can click, so it throws the content onto both, but the platforms are different in terms of,
and LinkedIn
um,
too. LinkedIn. The
right,
same.
yes, of course, the B2B. Okay, so here's what I would say to you, Paul, for sure. When we get off the phone, make a list of the problems that you right now are solving for your clients when they call you. What worries do they have? When I had everybody on mute and list their happy and sads, what are your happy and sads for your clients, as far as you know? So that's number one. And then how do you help them? For you, I would assume besides, not being able to physically see your clients, not a lot's gonna really have to change for you. You're not gonna have to like put up a ton of barriers and do a lot of work to re-enter. So if you were to say to yourself, here's the problems I think my clients are having, here's how I think they're feeling, and then what would your advice be? Pretend that your kids are coming to you and saying, hey, dad, whatever. Start to write down. You don't need to say much, and you certainly don't need to put images. You can put content up. Give yourself maybe, like, posting in the morning is usually good. Maybe say to yourself, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to put up 3 pointers. Now on Facebook, I'd probably get a little more touchy feely in terms of like how you talk to your kids, and on LinkedIn, I'd get more how you talk to a business person. So try to get 3 posts a week that you can start to just really just generate the content on a piece of paper. Just put some page breaks in and give advice on Facebook with more compassion, examples of maybe how you've dealt with things, funny stories, what's going on in your house, and tie it back. And then for the B2B, for sure, you want to be a little more professional and give specific business advice. But don't be afraid to just make a plan, jot it down, read the post to your brother or your family, whoever's around. It doesn't have to be perfect. No one wants perfect anymore anyway. So don't let the fear of doing stop you. Just make a plan. Pick maybe 3 things you're going to post on the 2 different platforms. I'm happy if you want to give me a call. You can run it by me. I'm certainly not going to charge you for that, but I'd love to help you get started with that. Does that help?
Yes, it does very much. Thank you.
Don't be afraid of it. I mean, the biggest thing to do is get out there. And the other thing you can do too, which is, look at your competitors, see what they're posting. A lot of my competitors aren't posting at all, but that's another thing that you can do if you just, if you're a little nervous about it. But people just want to hear from you, Paul. That's what your people want. So don't be too worried about it.
I would add too, this is for both Paul and Dan, because you're both in the same fields, but think about doing some both blogs, why I became an insurance broker, because the story around being a broker versus working for one of the big box is pretty significant in terms of what your flexibility is and how you go about doing business and pricing and so forth. And then telling your story, because working with somebody for insurance is all about trust. Just like Steve, I say the same thing for you too. In the legal world, it's all about trust. And so how do you get to trust somebody? And by telling stories on who you are and build up that level of trust. You got, Paul, for you, it's you and your brother. For Dan, it's you and your family. I mean, those are great stories. So I would definitely think about that as well.
Yep. And I can go back to, some of these slides with, if people didn't get to write a lot of that down, or if any of that's more relevant now that you've heard more, exactly what Mike said. I agree. That's what you got to do. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, again, questions, you want to share something about best practices around what you're doing. Jim?
Yeah, I got one.
Yes, Steve.
It's
Was that? Oh, sorry, Teddy.
No worries. I had a comment and a question. So the comment was a friend of mine who's also in a similar field suggested, I'm trying to create like kind of a podcast and blog platform. And she was like, you know, you need to treat this like a business plan and actually write it out. So what I did was I created a Google Doc and it kind of like the old school like essay format when you write an outline of like, okay, you know, here are my tiers, here's the points I want to, you know, hit on, you know, and then I build out details below each one, and each one has a branch, and then I highlight in green, these are the tasks, and so on and so forth. So to your point, I just wanted to substantiate what you had just said, that has been very, very helpful, not just to clarify things for me, but also to show me what I actually had been thinking all along, and to put it on a screen to see it all in one place. It was very peaceful. I don't know.
No, that's a good idea. And it's awesome that we have the time to do that. 'Cause I don't know about you guys, but leading to this, I was whirling through my days and my weeks. I didn't have any of this contemplative time. So yeah, I think that's exactly what you want to do.
And then my question for you is regarding shareable and engaging content. Can you give some examples of whether that's a Facebook post, just something simple, really, like a picture and a post of just like asking a question, like, what do you guys think of this, or whatever it may be. That's something I'm not very good at, and for some reason makes me nervous. Do you have any examples of utilizing that strategy effectively?
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely agree with you on the fear factor there, because I don't know about you guys, but I see so many of those, especially in Instagram stories, where you can literally tap and approve or disapprove or whatever. There's 1,000 ways with Instagram stories where you can comment on things. So it is scary, because I know probably all of us have seen so many of those lately, and that is like the buzzword way to get interaction. I would say I would say what we advise people to do the most is share something that you think solves a problem and people might want to share with someone else. So they will read that and say, wow, I never thought of that. I never thought I could do that. Like, you know, do you have cars in your driveway that are uninsured? Call your insurance agent. You can save some money. People are probably going to share that because they're going to want their friends to know, hey, I could save money. Or I discovered a new business that I had a great dinner from the farm. Who knew that like Dairos had takeout where, you know, they'll make your dinner and it's delicious. People will probably share that. I would mix it with information about your business that you think is shareable, like, hey, here's a hot tip for whatever for your business line, and also mix that in with other things that you find and you learn around town that you think people might be interested in. I would say write down a list of the things that you are the most interested in. Like when you're on social, what do you gravitate toward? Is it sports? Is it business? Whatever it is, those are the things that you probably know the most about and people are most likely to share. You can certainly, people share cute puppy pictures and memes and cartoons and TikToks now. I'm not personally, that doesn't match my brand, but there are people sharing a lot of that. I would say, again, write down what are you the most interested in, the problems you're solving for your clients, and write some posts about that. And I think that's what gets the shares. And you can see that in Facebook and Instagram. You can watch all those insights. But does that help?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, things that you really feel like you would turn to someone and go, oh, wow, I wish I knew that. And it can be the simplest things. And the biggest thing is I say over and over again to my people is don't be afraid. I mean, unless you're posting some really stupid, inappropriate content, which I don't think any of us would, it's much more important to show up and give it a try. So, you know, and don't be, some things are big bombs. I mean, when I look at my hugest post from last year, I'm shocked at like what got me hundreds of likes and shares was when I won awards at the State Connecticut Professional Photographers Association of holding up the pictures. I didn't particularly think that was going to be my biggest post of the year, but it was. And the biggest shared. So sometimes you really just keep doing it, I think is the best thing, and write down when it works and when it doesn't work, and don't be offended either way.
It's also interesting too, and we just we just happen to, we obviously we're trying to stay visual online as our hair salon is closed, but without worrying about people coming over and following and liking. And when you stop thinking about that, sometimes it's actually better.
Right?
So Jane sat in this room that I'm in, little sunroom that I'm in right now. She does not like social media. She doesn't like having camera on her, but she sat in a chair with our granddaughter who lives with us, and she just talked to clients. And it was from the heart, and had a quick little video, and people loved it. And we weren't trying. We were just, hey, let's just share what we got. And we actually were introducing a little giveaway that we were doing. And we got a bunch of engagement that it wasn't our purpose. It was just, hey, let's just do something different. And it worked out better for generating that kind of stuff than we ever even were thinking about. And same thing yesterday, we did we want to give back. That's the thing that we miss most. That's our brand, is the live good side. We just had this big red heart that says #grateful for you. And we did we're doing I won't get into the details because you can go over and see it. But we've got, I wouldn't say a lot of people have been nominated yet, but geez, just yesterday we had probably 5 or 6 people come over and start following us that we don't even know who they are. And that was not our intention, but people are seeing things that are different and unique, and showing that you care. And it's an important thing right now. So
it's an important thing right now. And I think it's really a blessing, for the many blessings that will come out of this. I think marketing has hugely changed in the last 5 weeks to organic, believable content. No one, the whole bullshit thing that's gone on, nobody wants to, all the social stars and influencers are getting completely ragged on for, showing too much of their money and their wealth. And that was a huge thing a couple months ago. And it's just not in vogue anymore. Being authentic, being real, showing up, not all made up. So I agree. I mean, I think a lot of good things are coming out of this too.
by the way, a little Zoom lesson. So I just took my cursor into the right side of what EB's sharing, and there's actually a split window. And if you just slide it over, I made her slide smaller, which I can still see, and I can see everybody as well. So if you want to do that, you can open up the screen. EB, you can probably do it too, but I just want to look around and if you have anything to add or a question or comment, Jim?
Yes, I do. First, Evie, thanks. This is great information, very well presented. I am taking advice, and I did not put any makeup on today. The more I go to Zoom meetings, the less appearance seems to matter. So I agree. I'm seeing the same things with you. Most of the work I'm currently doing is on television for production. Just like Facebook, advertising is way, way off. But I'm strategizing with clients where 2 or 3 weeks ago, the main thrust was, what they're doing now and whether they're open, whether they're not, what their hours were. But what I'm seeing now, the message they're trying to develop is what we're calling the re-entry message. So we are starting to come out of this, or there's talk about coming out of this. How are you going to draw people back in there? What is it? What safety measures are you going to be offering? If it's a sale, what are you going to be offering? What is it that's going to draw people out of their homes and come back to your business? And that's probably even a more carefully crafted message at this point, because as everybody here knows, it's not going to be a light switch. It's going to be a very slow transition. So I would encourage everybody out there, for your social, for whatever marketing you're doing, start thinking about that message. What's going to make people feel good about coming to see you again?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks. That was where I was totally going to go next, because that's really important. Any other questions on marketing, social? Don't forget your websites. They are your brand 24/7. So many people are not on social media and have no interest in being on social media. They find it even more annoying right now. That's a trend too. Some people like to connect, some people are going just the opposite. So do spend time to make sure your website speaks those same messages. Any other?
Had a question.
Yeah.
I've taken a handful of social media marketing classes because I'm not super good at Facebook and Instagram and all of that, especially Instagram. And what I've heard a number of times is that, you know, the younger folk are super into videos, you know, especially videos without sound. They want to, I mean, maybe now it's a little different than it was, you know, 6 months ago when I took this little class. But, you know, videos that are like maybe 2 minutes long at the most. And again, maybe not sound, maybe now it's okay. So I'm wondering, you know, there's a lot of technology involved, obviously, in making a video. And I've had people suggest, like, for me, for my farm, you know, just doing short little like tutorials, things like that. Do you think that that's still a thing? Do you think it'll continue to be a thing as we go?
Absolutely. TikTok's huge, and all that is silly little videos. So absolutely. And excuse me, each iPhone that comes out is better and better at it. You can edit right in the iPhone now. So don't be afraid, depending on what phone you have, or if you can grab somebody's phone, especially the newest iPhone, absolutely take videos, practice with that, because you can go right into, you know, right when you shoot it on your phone, you can go right in there and clip exactly what you want to save and email to yourself to watch. So 100% people love the DIY, the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know, you were saying you were making, was it dandelion tea or teas and things? For sure, you can, you know, take maybe the tea leaves, take the flowers, you know, zoom in and out on them. Even if you just do a simple like in, out, and combine that with some text. You start small, but don't be afraid with it. And don't be scared of Instagram. You can start another Instagram, not a Finsta like the kids do to hide everything they're doing from us, but you can start another Instagram. You can also start a Facebook page that you just don't promote. You can mark it as private. Throw stuff up there. See how it looks. You know, you can really, and Instagram's almost simpler than Facebook, but definitely reach out to me. I don't mind at all. Again, everything I offer, I'm not charging anyone for any of this stuff, but if you want to talk about Instagram or Facebook, just reach out to me. But definitely maybe make a private page on both those things, and don't be afraid to play with the video. Either video yourself, have somebody video you. You know, it's free. You can just throw it out if you don't like it. But yes, I do think that's important, and don't be scared of it. Just play with it.
And I'll just add as well that when you're ready for prime time, then you call somebody like Jim,
right,
who can prepare a 30-second video that can really brand your business in a different way.
Yes, and that's
so the
so
combination
important.
The combination of photography, professional photography, and professional video could do wonders for a business. So
yes, absolutely true.
and then I want to comment on a few things that just came in on chat. Andrea from Birkin's Blend had commented that just to let everybody know, the town Glastonbury has relaxed their sign policy, so signage can help as well, and signage could have photography on it. And if you have a hidden gem like Birkin's Blend and weren't allowed to have signage on the road, at this time it's great to be able to do that. So that's one. And then Ellie, who's on with us, just had a couple comments. One, doing live Facebook helps a lot, and offering gift cards is a good help too for people. So thanks for sharing those too.
You're welcome. Happy to do it.
Oh, and then I saw Jim's comment. Oh, I beat you to it, Jim. And then there's other things in the chat too, if everybody wants to jump in on that. Oh, there we go. Looks like Deborah needs to hook up with Jim. How to use local TV to promote herself. Jim can help you with that.
If you're
Oh.
seriously interested, there's never been a better time. The stations are somewhat starving, great rates, and you certainly would love a conversation about it.
So Deborah, did I see your hand go up? Okay. Anyone else? Otherwise, I'm going to let EB continue to the transition plan.
Actually, I will say something. I know this from having, book reviews. When you are messing around with social media and you spend your time making these great posts, you cannot take it personally when whatever the results are. You are not really in control of that. If you get a bunch of people sharing it, it doesn't necessarily mean that you had really great content. It just means that it resonated with those people who were there at that moment. That's all it means. So if you did something that was really great and didn't go anywhere, try posting it again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's a great comment, especially if you're taking it out to some other community page, because what you think was just posted could drop down like 6 layers and nobody ever sees it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that, Mike, is why your websites are super important, because the feed does completely disappear. It doesn't stay around for long. So social is very important. It's like the icing on the cake, or, on a 3-layer cake. But it is important that what's out there 24/7 says exactly the things you don't want lost on your feed. That's a good way to look at it.
Excellent. Why don't you continue on, EB?
Sure. So transition plan. I think the biggest thing that we're telling our clients about transition plans is it's really, really hard to know what a transition plan is going to look like. For me personally, I'm really glad that some of the southern states are rushing to open up first. Let's see if that works. NPR did a big story on coming out of the last pandemic. Well, I don't know if it's the last pandemic, but coming out of the 1918 pandemic, and the cities that came out first and relaxed their social distancing the soonest had the highest fatality rates. So, because if you look at it, what's really different in Connecticut? We're home, we don't have immunity. We're going to head back into a lot of the same issues that we had before. So I think optimistically, let's hope that it works. I'm glad southern states are doing it. Let's see what happens. But I think we really don't know. So as you start to look at your transition plan, I think the biggest thing we all need to do is communicate to our clients, what is our transition plan? And I'm sure you all are doing this, but look at it from their point of view. How are you going to keep them safe? What measures are you putting in place? And be really effective at communicating that. Have that on your website. Yes, you can post it on social, but as you know, that just goes away because people are scared and they're worried. They don't know what this is going to look like. So in terms of the slide that I have here, client habits have changed for all of us. I have a home gym now. Well, I go to the gym less. There's just so many different things that we're all doing. We're shopping online now. I haven't been to the grocery store. Between Whole Foods and Highland Park, whatever's the safest way I can keep my family out of the grocery store, we're staying out of the grocery store. So those trends are probably going to continue. It's really nice to have somebody leave all my groceries. Well, no one will leave my groceries at your door right now, but right now we go to the parking lot and pick them up. I don't have to go through the grocery store. I shop at home. A lot of those trends aren't going to change. So if you're someone who's impacted by those trends, pay attention to that and start a marketing plan in your mind that's going to take that into account, because I don't think a lot of this is going to go back to as it was. And then think
that's
what you
a great
offer.
comment, EB, and I surely hope that the recovery is continues on a really great scale, because businesses like ours are most challenged, and we're spending more time just in the planning stage of how to reopen. I always say it's easier to stay closed than it is to plan to be to reopen, but we have to take into account the safety of it's more not just the risk, but the emotions of both employees and clients. And so it just changes the whole approach on how you do things. And
Yeah.
it would be easy to say, let's be greedy and just open up and have a ton of people in the salon, and we can't do that. So it's a challenge, and it's actually also exciting to actually try to innovate unique ways to figure this out.
It is, and I think we have to budget for those changes. So if you're someone like Mike, I mean, for me, for the school side of our photography business, we have a lot of ideas, but it's not going to be the same. I mean, we were one right on top of kids, photographing them in the schools. You know, that's not going to be possible. Will the schools open? Will they open and close again and mess our deadlines up? Because yearbook deadlines are pretty tight. So think about all those things. Think about all the outliers. If we open up, then we close again, and budget for those changes. I mean, I'm going to have more computers, more screens, more ways for people to look at pictures from far away when we do business portraits. And just, you know, I'm going to have to budget for those things for me personally. And then have compassion for everybody when you're doing that, and think of new products you might need to offer. It's not going to go back to the way it was. So what are the ways you might need to do things differently? Take advantage of this. You know, there's pros and cons to everything. Yes, it's different, but in a lot of ways that's good. I mean, for me, social media, marketing, websites, it's never been more important that you're on brand with that. And for all you guys, there's going to be a yin and a yang to this. There's going to be things that will never go back as they were. Then there's going to be all new opportunities. So just take the time to make those lists, make them from a monetary perspective. You know, what's it going to cost you? Budget for that. Do it on a time perspective, and definitely make an A and a B plan. You know, plan for open, close, and which of your clients are you going to need to reach out to first? You know, we have our A list. They say that you make 80% of your money from 20% of your clients. Keep that A list in mind, write them down, reach out to them as you start to reopen. You know, they're the ones that, I mean, all of our clients are important, but your A list is super important. You know, make sure that you're reaching out to them and getting them in the doors first. If you're someone who's going to like open a retail shop, like we're going to have to do. Does that help? I think the biggest thing for these transition plans is keep communicating it to your clients so they know what you're doing. Show that you're resilient, show that you really don't have all the answers, because I personally believe anyone who says to me, this is how it's going to go, because we don't know. You know, we could have a rebound. This is not a disease that dies in hot weather. You know, Iran, Iraq, all the hot clients are still getting hit with this as much as we are. And none of that's to be pessimistic. It's just to be realistic so that you stay ahead of what your clients are thinking, and you show them that you are thinking and you are caring and you are making plans for every contingency. But the goal for sure is to instill them with the confidence that we're going to get back to as much of a normal as possible. Things are going to get back to the way they are, so that obviously, you know, we're the encouraging side of this coin. But then on the underside, for your own planning, you know, have your plan so you're not caught off guard, and you show your clients, build the confidence with our clients is to be a step ahead of what they're thinking and be confident.
Hey, EB, you know, so I said earlier that I'm really looking forward to that time when I can chest pump somebody, high five them, shake their hand, give them a big hug, because it's so much of who I am. And one of my biggest fears was that so many were going to take a really, really, really long time to evolve out of this. And so much so that it began to be a depressing conversation, because you can get a lot of people to support that belief. And then I called my father. And he reminded me of history. And, you know, he reminded me that when the Spanish flu wiped out 50 million people, the roaring 20s came rolling in quite comfortably right after that. And there was no social distancing going on in that period. So how quickly we forget and how resilient we are as human beings. I went from being deeply depressed about how long it's going to take everyone to cautiously optimistic that I'm going to get exactly what I'm looking for, and Mike Ski is going to jump up, chest pump me, and hug me like there's no tomorrow, sooner than we all think it's going to happen. Maybe not this week, but sooner than many are predicting. That's my optimistic.
I think that's
view.
a valid point. I just would caution. I mean, do what you feel is right for your business. I would caution people that there's many of us feel like that, and that's very valid. And then there's many people who don't. And I think we do 100% need to be optimistic in our marketing, but you also have to show the compassion that some people have lost loved ones and they're not going to want to be anywhere near us for a while because they're afraid of things that we might not know about. So I think we absolutely have to be optimistic. That's what business leaders and business owners have to do. But I think we can't forget that a lot of people are going to be scared. They have diabetics at home, they have asthma, kids. You know, I think people are going to come back from all different kinds of places. That's all I would personally say from what we're telling people, that we need to be optimistic for sure. We need to be leaders, but we need to realize that some people are going to be more scared than other people, I think. But I agree with you. I mean, I want nothing more. I mean, I can't hug my clients. I can't get near my clients. I mean, photography is so hands-on. I'm shooting now. We're doing family portraits outside. I'm staying way far away. It's really weird to connect with people when you can't get anywhere near them. It's hard.
Not only that, the results can be a pretty nerve-wracking looking subject of your photography because it's just so stressful no matter what. You know, you can make faces at each other and you're still not going to get what you want from the portrait. I sometimes take my photographs of my artwork and send them to a photographer for finishing work so it looks nice at the website, because I don't do it in quantity, and so it takes me forever sometimes to properly edit the photographs so that they're true to the original and yet top quality for what I'm looking for at my site. So is that something that you do?
Take pictures of artwork?
For example, if I photographed a batch of my paintings and emailed them to you, could you perfect them digitally and then send them back?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we have all that software that it creates the depth and the color that it's hard to get with a phone. Yeah.
Exactly, because the hope sometimes I'm doing tons and tons of Photoshop work, and then it goes, 1, 2, 3. But if I'm not doing quite a bit of it, it can take forever. And in the meantime, I go, oh dear, where did the rest of my life go? So sometimes it's less expensive to pay a pro who can do it in 5 minutes flat. So
yeah.
Should I find your website and be in touch with you that way?
Yeah, definitely, because we do a lot of Photoshop restoration work, and we do a lot of work with artwork for shows and for clients. I'm a certified Photoshop professional. I did that early on because I didn't think I should run a studio if I wasn't that.
That's
so
wonderful. Good. Very good.
That
Excellent.
helps for sure.
I'll probably do that.
Oh, good. Yeah, and as always with a lot of this stuff, if I can't help you or I don't think it's worth your time, I'll 100% tell you, why don't you do X, Y, Z, and you don't need me, or I'll be honest with you too.
I'm chatting with people. It looks like I will get the offers for a new gallery representation pretty soon, and I didn't think it was going to happen. Coming back cold after the surgery and stuff, and I'm just chatting with someone I'd done some work with in the past. And all of a sudden that door opened, okay? And I went, oh, okay, it's going to happen. It's, take heart, So it's very pleased. Yeah. It's those little moments, okay, that really do it. I think we have a right to be optimistic, realistic, but optimistic. The miracles. My late husband's first degree was in chemistry, and I grew up with science and technology as well as art. They've been doing things in 90 days that used to take generations to achieve. They're going to do it.
True.
We've got like superheroes doing it. The ability to trade data like we're doing right now internationally, to share the data, to share the things they're learning, for the quick progress and resolution finding the vaccine. They're already testing the vaccines on humans. So they say it'll be a while yet because they don't dare risk. The risk is too great without proper preparation and testing. But that they've gotten that far on it in 90 days flat just boggles the mind. It's amazing what they're doing. It's just, I think we have a right to be optimistic. We're making history. What we're doing here is history. We're living in a history moment. Our grandchildren will read about it and go, gosh, did you really do this?
Well said, Ellie. Thank you for sharing that. You know, it's, those that have been involved, I know Andreas, she's big. This is part of her career is like diversity and inclusion and a lot of elements around that. And if you look at what's happening right now, there's a lot of diverse, everybody's in a different place. You know, I've got a stylist that their family lost their best friend. I have another stylist that wants to work around the clock because she needs the money. Everybody has different thoughts on this. There's more than ever. We need to just think of this as there's a lot of diversity and we need to appreciate all of it. And there's miracles and there's those that are just so very, very optimistic and others that are frightened. But that's what this world is. And so we got to make the best of all of it.
Really, it's spectacular. I like the way groups like this are really helping us. Apparently, there are a lot of places in work and business where the people are doing meltdowns and crashes every 5 minutes because they don't have a group something, okay? A business-oriented network group to keep the faith with. So, I didn't think we were doing all that great, but we are because we've been able to connect here, and I appreciate it more than I can say.
Yeah. So before we I got quite a few people are jumping off now because we're hitting the time. So with those that are, and Jamie, thank you for joining us, Jamie.
You want me to close this? I can close the, hold on a second.
Yeah.
I can close this. So thank you guys for being here. This is what we do. If I can help anybody out, we care, we're invested, and we're here to help. And thank you guys so much. Let me stop the share. There we go. Got us all back again.
What is your contact information?
You can use the video at ebtaylorphoto.com. I have EB Taylor created email too, but that's probably the
video.
Drop it into the chat. Drop it into the chat, EB.
Thank you.
And
thank you guys
way,
so much for all you did and for listening and everything else. I really appreciate it. It's fun to share.
Thank you for sharing today.
Yeah, that's.
And thank you guys too. And I really do want to say, Chris, I super duper appreciate optimism and don't take what I'm saying any lack thereof. It just seems like a double-edged sword. I agree that our role completely has to be happy, optimistic leaders, because that's our job as the backbone of this community, the business leaders that we are. Right. So thank you guys for everything.
Thank you, Chris, I will be the first to jump from 10 feet away and open for a hug.
Did everybody see Glastonbury's offering free masks if they're stuck for them? Town of Glastonbury. If you're stuck for masks, their staff people have been ripping up the sewing machine cotton masks. So they're offering them because they're free for the asking.
Oh,
so they passed that around yesterday for us. So I'm showing some here for a commitment I already had. Waiting for the Alaska, getting the supplies has been a moment on occasion. There's quite a demand. I got to play policeman. They're charging scalping prices for the supplies for them, but they got that under control and it's getting normal, finding a path and things. So God bless us all. I gotta go. I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you lunch tomorrow, right?
Excellent. Yes, we'll be on at noon tomorrow for those that want to join. And, Christy just popped out. Oh, Christy, there you are. Thanks again for joining us. Come back in on Wednesday. You can share more about your business.
So what's Wednesday now?
Wednesday at noon. If you go out to the chamber site, you'll see that Wednesday we do just virtual networking, relationship building for an hour or so.
Oh, okay.
Do it at noon. It's a different link, so you'd have to go to the chamber site and register for that.
Okay, great.
I'm out of practice for my video. These are helping me. At one time, I was on everything all the time, but I've been really recluse, getting some physical tweaking, some medical tweaking done, and I'm going, you know. So it takes some practice again, getting back in the stride of the promoting and all of that. But I'm enjoying it, and you're making it easy for me. So let me go. See y'all tomorrow.
Christy, the links, Travis just shared the link in the chat.
Oh, okay.
You
Yep,
can go to that and get a link to all the meetings are in there.
okay, excellent. Thank you.
EB, thank you so much. This has been great.
Awesome. Thank
Look
you.
forward to continuing these, and thanks everybody for hanging in there. We'll see you all on Wednesday, hopefully.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Deborah, reach out.